Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am telling you a story about an orphan boy. So let's start. The sixth story, Oliver learns pickpocketing. It was late next morning when Oliver awoke. He was still drowsy. There was only the old Jew who was boiling some coffee in a saucepan and whistling softly. The Jew stepped gently to the door and fastened it. He then drew out a small box from some trap in the floor and placed it carefully on the table. He took out a magnificent gold watch sparkling with jewels from the box. Suddenly, he saw Oliver looking at him and understood that he had been observed. He closed the lid of the box with a loud crash, picked up a bread knife from the table, and furiously stood up. The Jew glanced uneasily at the box. "Did you see any of these pretty things, my dear?" said the Jew. "Yes, sir," replied Oliver. "Ah," said the Jew, turning rather pale. They are mine, Oliver, my little property. All I have to live upon in my old age." Oliver asked if he might get up. "Certainly, my dear, certainly," replied the old gentleman. "There's a pitcher of water in the corner by the door. Bring it here, and I'll give you a basin to wash, my dear." Oliver got up and stooped to raise the pitcher. When he turned his head, the box was gone. He had scarcely washed himself when the Dodger returned with one of the boys whom Oliver had seen the previous night. He was introduced as Charlie Bates. They sat down for the breakfast. "Well," said the Jew, "what have you got, Dodger?" "A couple of pocket books." "Lined?" inquired the Jew with eagerness. "Pretty well," replied the Dodger, producing two pocket books, one green and another red. "And what have you got, my dear?" said Fagin to Charlie Bates. "Wipes," replied Master Bates, producing four pocket handkerchiefs. "Well," said the Jew, inspecting them closely, "they are very good ones." When the breakfast was cleared away, the Jew and the two boys played very curious and uncommon game. The Jew placing a snuff box in one pocket of his trousers, a note case in the other, a watch in his waistcoat pocket with a guard chain round his neck, and sticking a mock diamond pin in his shirt, buttoned his coat tightly round him. He put his spectacle case and handkerchiefs in his pocket, trotted up and down the room with a stick, the way old gentlemen walk about the streets. All this time the two boys followed him closely, hiding every time he turned around. At last, the Dodger trod upon his toes or ran upon his boot accidentally, while Charlie Bates stumbled against him, and in that one moment they took away everything that he carried. If the old gentleman felt a hand in any one of his pockets, he cried out where it was, and then the game began all over again. When this game has been played many times, a couple of young ladies called to see the young gentleman, one of whom was named Bet and other Nancy. They wore their hair turned up behind and wore untidy shoes and stockings. They wore a lot of makeup and looked quite stout and hearty. Oliver thought them to be very nice girls. Spirits were produced, and shortly the Dodger, Charlie, and two young ladies went away together, having been kindly given money by the Jew to spend. "There, my dear," said Fagin. "That's a pleasant life, isn't it? They have gone out for the day." "Have they done their work, sir?" inquired Oliver. "Yes," said the Jew. "Do everything they bid you, and take their advice in all matters, especially Dodger's. He'll be a great man and will make you one too. If you take after him." "Is my handkerchief hanging out of my pocket, my dear?" said the Jew, stopping short. "Yes, sir," said Oliver. "See if you can take it out, or you saw them do when we were at play this morning." Oliver held up the bottom of the pocket with one hand, and he had seen the Dodger hold it and drew the handkerchief lightly out of it with the other. "Is it gone?" cried the Jew. "Here it is, sir," said Oliver, showing it in his hand. "You are a clever boy, my dear," said the playful old gentleman, patting Oliver on his head approvingly. "If you go on in this way, you will be the greatest man of the time." Oliver followed him quietly to the table.